Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to The Hole in the World, an actual play set in the world of the Invisible Sun RPG by Monte Cook Games. I am, as always, your GM, your producer, your master of ceremonies, your game master, your referee, your groundskeeper. Wait, that's Bluebeard's bride. Anyhow, I am Great Zamino, otherwise known as Zach. I use he, him pronouns, and I am joined once again by my wonderful and lovely cast in this, probably the final passel of episodes. So, Marcy, if you'd like to start us off.
Sure. I'm still Marcy and have been for several years, and we'll see if I get to keep being her for several more. Patents are pending. I am once again playing Gabrielle, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir.
Excellent. Moving down.
Who hosts a choir?
Hosts a choir?
That sentence isn't done.
What?
Your sentence isn't done.
My sentence isn't done?
You have an impertinence.
You have an impertinence. Because you do it with...
What is happening?
With a
With a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, with a gun.
That's part of your sentence now.
That's sorry, y'all. It's a new thing that I have.
Look.
Let me take it again. I'm playing Gabrielle, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir with a gun.
See, I'm so glad you did that, because otherwise, if for every appurtenance we miss, Monte Cook levies a fine.
Damn it. Gotta pay the bill somehow.
Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you would like to introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Bill, and I am playing Maurice Webb. Is his last name, because I really wanted to do it right on the nose. A stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers who turns tales into reality with a beast.
All right, fine avoided. Moving over the overlay to Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Hopper. My microphone is questionable tonight. Don't kill me. My pronouns are they, them, and I am currently playing Twig, the mendicant gallant apostate who heralds beginnings. And I don't have a suffix because I'm not a cool kid.
And finally, last but most certainly not least, Marissa, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Marissa, she, her pronouns. I go by Critical Kitten most places on the internet, and I play Kiri von Hollingsworth, the first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vance. She's an aromatic stoic who understands the words, has been looking after Zaleska's grimoire, might own King Nine's library, mistress of monikers, maven of mirrors, and she doesn't have an impertinence, but she does have someone else's soul, so actually at the minute, 2 people's souls, so there's that.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see how this plays out. Yeah, because in all honesty, if you guys haven't been able to tune into the last episode, it was buck wild. So you guys, after finding your way, and actually, hold on. And yes. Once again, our old recap music by Kai Engel plays. So last session was pretty buck wild, as I was saying. You guys made your way through the back channels of the King Nine's trophy room and library with Avelia and Mott and Allegra in tow. Your allies from both Saturnine and from the Cataract and the War Report. You found your way through this back channel into the Library for Esoteric and Rhizomatic Studies on the Vancian campus, a place that Kiri knew very well from having worked there for most of her life, or her time in Saturnine, as a returning vislae, shall we say. And in this moment, you relative peace, even in spite of the sound of gunfire and ordnance exploding and riots outside of the library. You took that time to search for any resources that were available to you in the upcoming encounter and confrontation with Marlowe Anvers, who you did some digging on and are hoping to do some more digging and research on now that you are in the Vancian campus. That said, Curie, you were able to make a pretty kind of almost amazing discovery with the help of Maurice's Forte ability, which is you realized something about the very nature of the actuality, which is that it was essentially concocted by not a god, but an archmage not from this reality, but in fact from another one through a means of passage called the Labyrinth. So with this knowledge finally beginning to click and make understandable and real several suspicions you have had in your times recently, forearmed with this knowledge, you managed to share this, I don't think with the rest of the group, but you managed to make this discovery while everybody else was trying their best to assist the effort. And Allegra in this moment also came up with her own discovery, which essentially she has a means for creating a monograph, a way of concocting and performing a long-form ritual, basically using the equivalent of an instantaneous resource. So with this information and these resources available to you, you were prepared to make your way towards the administration building and to confront Ota Clasp, the new Archmagus or Supreme Magus of the Vancian campus. However, Gavriel, you noticed that you were being followed by none other than Basil Fictorum, who had been corrupted by some form of dark magic, along with many of your allies, including Ardeno Bookridge, who had become the enemy of knowledge. Basil Fictorum himself had become the enemy of ingenuity, and Mikolai, the enemy of dissent, and finally Ethereal Baub, who had found herself becoming the enemy of freedom. You fought in a pitched battle against your former allies, who all of you managed to subdue. Unfortunately, you came to the realization that all of them had been robbed of their souls by some extraordinary means. And just as it seemed as though Ardeno was going to detonate and take a good chunk of the administration building with him, you were able to remove this changery, changes to their forms, which all of them seemed to share, which you realized was a locus of control of their minds, perhaps the means by which Marlowe was also taunting you and controlling them. Also, you managed to stop Ota Clasp and remove her own changery abilities, right as it looked like she was about to do something terrible to Allegra von Hollingsworth. It is in this moment, with all of your former allies slack-jawed and vacant-eyed, with Curie, you approaching, almost pulled by the soul of Arwen in your body, towards her former husband. We are going to pick up in that moment, and you can tell me what this looks like as you approach your former mentor. I will say something is markedly different. This is the first time that you have seen Ardeno in his natural form, without being kind of bedecked by books. I have to do a bit of a retcon. That spell that you cast, Gavriel, removed every changery, change that had been put upon these people. And in Ardeno, you realize that he had kind of turned to books as solace for some deep subconscious need and despair. And without them, it's almost like seeing him naked after a fact. He is still dressed, but he is no longer this kind of almost jolly, voluminous figure made of pages and well-worn leather spines. He is the spitting image of the young soldier that all of you saw in the war report. Stouter, boasting a thin mustache and what you realize now had been blonde hair, which is now thinning. He is balding, and there are deep, deep, dark circles under his eyes as he looks vacantly towards you as you approach, Kiri.
Yeah, I think sort of called by this, the soul of Arwen within her, she, as you say, is almost compelled toward him. And as she approaches, she takes the chain from around her neck. It's where she wears the wicked snowflake key that contains the piece of Ardeno's soul. And I think as she approaches, she says, "Oh, Ardeno, I told you I was going to put this right. I asked you to loan this to me so I could find Arwen for you, but the answer is maybe not. Maybe it's more terrible than either of us could have imagined." And as she says this, I think two things happen. She puts the chain of the wicked key around Ardeno's neck so that the key is like on his chest. And I think simultaneously as she does this, it's like there's something pulsing kind of from within her chest. And it could have been mistaken for the seed of truth, but in fact, it's something else. And I think with that, without intending to, without knowing that that's what's happening, Kiri invokes her secret soul for the first time all game.
As you place this necklace upon him, the snowflake kind of tends to effulge. But as you do this, he looks at you vacantly, his words almost slurred. "Do I know you, miss? You look like someone familiar." And as you place the snowflake, tell me what it looks like. What happens when you trigger your secret soul, both mechanically and, visibly in this scene?
Yes. So Kiri's secret soul is the Watcher, which ironically is also the same as Allegra's. But mechanically, the description of the Watcher is distant and aloof. The Watcher possesses a vast knowledge and clear logic. The symbol or image is a tower with a single window atop a distant hill. I can spend 1 Crox to refresh my intellect pool, which is sorely needed at this moment, and gain 3 Bene. And I will know the answer to any one question.
Very well.
So mechanically, that's what's going on. But I think what all of you see, it's almost like Kiri gets taller by 3 or 4 inches. There's like a luminous quality, almost shimmery, about her as she kind of kneels down next to Ardeno here. And as she does this, as she sort of like peers into his eyes, you see this tall woman with dark hair and sharp blue eyes, who looks like Kiri but not, almost like Kiri in refraction, not reflection. You're so used to seeing Kiri and Allegra and Kiri as these two sort of reflections of one another, but this is something different. There's a similarity, but it's almost in contrast. But yet, there's pieces, you could almost say, you don't know, you can't quite put your finger on why. But it's like she's wearing the guise of someone she both is and isn't.
You hear in that inner voice, "Oh, my darling, how I have missed you." And you almost unbidden feel your hand as if pulled on a string to touch Ardeno's face. You see the snowflake pulse and glow and then melt into his chest, which you just see a radiant light from under the skin of a spectrum I don't think any human eye can perceive, but which you can see resembles an invisible light, a protective one, something warding him. And there is a moment where that vacant look remains in his eyes, and you worry almost reflexively, did this take hold? Was this in vain? And then the eyes flicker with recognition at the form that surrounds your own. In this moment, you realize that you have the power to let her go and to leave. Do you do this?
I think she wants to have a sense of what Arwen wants. Does Arwen want to stay for a final fight, or does Arwen want to go?
She wants to be with the love of her life, wherever he is.
Then Kiri's gonna do something here. This is something Kiri didn't actually know she could do, but she can. So Allegra's forte abilities, as a spell writer, one of them is called Form Meets Function. It's a level 5 ability plus 1 die. Mm-hmm. She can transmute an abstract concept, so like belief, truth, failure, pride, into a proprietary object in her possession. You must give this object a name and state its purpose, and you can add +2 to any venture as long as you wield the object for the original stated purpose. Weapons created this way do a +2 damage, but here that's not relevant. I think what Kiri is going to intend to do here is create something to sever Arwen's soul from her. And I think she's going to use the concept of liberty.
Excellent. What does, in this moment, what does the implement look like, and how do you, I think in this moment, I will tell you what it looks like when you sever this tether. But what does liberty itself look like?
I think here I think the blade has snowflakes imprinted along the edge of like the handle of the knife. I think it's this sort of curved, almost short but scimitar-esque looking blade that recalls some of Arwen's sort of favorite like dresses, designs, like things that she wore when she was in the war report, like the few things Kiri has seen. And I think Kiri reaches, it's almost like Kiri, as this sort of Arwen-esque version of her soul, reaches into her pocket, and there's a recognition. She remembers this moment from the war report where she got a flash of Allegra using the same forte ability, but creating a dagger from the concept of sacrifice to kill Arwen. And now it's as though that blade has always been with her this whole time. And yet now Kiri has transmuted it. It's become something else instead of sacrifice. That concept inverts, and it's liberty and reconciliation. There's like, it's almost like that's threaded conceptually through this blade too. reunion. These ideas sort of course through the blade, and I think Kiri, as Arwen, it's almost these words are not hers, but in fact she doesn't know where they come from. It's like she heard them somewhere else, and yet they resonate. And as Kiri begins to do this, she says, "You're waiting for a maze that will take you far away. You know where you hope this maze will take you, but you don't know for sure. But it doesn't matter, because you'll be together." And with that, she severs the tie.
This thin thread of a weave of magic, you can see it, though it is not a weave, it is something even more kind of iron, but at the same time supple, like spider silk, that seems to connect the two of you. Its bond strained, you realize, to the limit by virtue of the fact of how hard Arwen's soul is trying to leave to embrace him. And with that swift cut, the thread is severed, disappears, and her form, one very reminiscent of yours when you found your nature kind of discovered by Marlowe in the Gold Sun, one of pure indigo energy and light, embraces him. And you just hear Marlowe just say, "My love, don't cry. It's just snow. It's snowing." A moment. His mind, this part of his soul may be trapped in, but is a start, a beginning, a new, fresh memory from which perhaps new ones may grow. And she turns back to you to look at you, and what is the question you wish to ask of your secret soul?
I think from what Kiri learned from her last question, if Vislae is from the other side of the labyrinth, am I from the other side of the labyrinth too?
And I think that she moves forward and she takes your hand. And with the voice that you are so used to, that sounds so much like your own, that you interpreted it as your inner voice, she grips your hands in hers as they glow. And she says, "You are something wholly unique for this place, this actuality. It existed long before she came, a place of pure potential, which she shaped. You are that potential, distilled, perfected. Know this. You are a promise that the actuality made to itself thousands of years ago."
I think Kiri looks between them. I know my memories say different things, but it's nice to meet you, Mom.
You watch as that energy, you don't know if you can make it out, as this is just a glowing form, but you feel its smile, its warmth, its love. And beyond, and the periphery of your vision, you watch Allegra look on. There is a mix of something there. It could be pride, but it's not that. It's one of epiphany. The realization that she wasn't the creator of some grand and powerful spell, merely a facilitator, a conductor of a vessel that was traveling to its inevitable destination.
Yuri asks, "Do you have to go now?"
I can stay for as long as you need me. Here, with you. Whatever you need in this moment, I owe you that much. At a minimum. What would you have of me?
I think I'd like that. After all, I'm sorry I've been your cage for so long. I didn't know.
I do not think of you as a cage. For so long, I felt powerless to tell you who you were and what you could do and how blessed you truly are in this place, what you represent. The only cage was one of my own making. The shame that I felt that I couldn't help you more than I have. Blame not yourself.
What do you mean? You've been my soul.
Yes.
I wouldn't have one without you.
Yes. But your soul has been in turmoil. You are something new that has risen from me. Something wholly unique. A spell that knows the words, that knows the lyrics, the poetry of the actuality. You are far more than I ever aspired to be. You are something wholly new. The fact that you call me mother is an honor, as advanced that I once was. I feel this.
You said I was potential. And that's what makes me your daughter, after all. I took that from you. That future, Ardeno's future, the child you would have had. I hope I can be enough.
You took care of him. And she caresses his cheek as there is a flickering awareness that he is trying to take everything in and understand. And he looks and recognizes Allegra. His eyes turn back to look at you. And you wait for it, the expectation that he will mistake you for her. But there is something about, even in his nascent, conscientiousness available to him again, there is an understanding on his part that you are somebody different, but somebody important to him. And he steps forward as if to embrace you.
And I think Kiri holds Ardeno's gaze as she answers Arwen, and she says, "No, he took care of me." And I think then she accepts his embrace. And I think it begins to snow.
I think that everything, the chaos in this moment, on the campus, something slows down. Time stands still for the two of you in this moment. Not as you are embraced warmly by this man who in another life would have been your father. But just as soon as it arrives, after that interminable moment, it still passes, and you find yourself in the chaos of the aftermath of this battle. As at this point, we're going to rejoin everybody else. What are all of you doing as the thaw off in a distance still attempt to pursue rebellious students as Numivores leap, roving in packs beyond into Fartown, as Mott and Allegra, as the rest of your allies gather in this moment, as you have Uta Clasp bound? What do all of you do?
Kiri was the only one that took injuries, right?
Believe so.
What was it? 2 injuries that you got?
Yeah, I got some of them because I sacrificed I think a sorcery something. I sacrificed a point to negate some of the damage. So I ended up taking, instead of 8, 5.
Can you
Okay.
you can spend more than one, right? At a time, as long as you have the points, or no?
I
think it was
believe
just
if you have
one.
a secret. I think that might be
okay.
Magnificent Endeavor. I double checked to make sure. if
Magnificent
you-
Endeavor would do it. Did you take that?
Yeah.
I think I did, as
So
I
then-
recall.
Then I think you could be without a wound and with only 2 injury, which Maurice merely touches your shoulder.
Absolutely.
And as a practiced weave, it is to heal 1 injury, it costs -1 sorcery for me. So I'll heal 2 for 1.
Okay. I will also say, Kiri, make sure that you count off that physicality so that you can blunt that second wound.
Yes, done. And then my intellect pool is now fully refreshed, and I have 3 additional bene.
Nobody died, correct?
Nobody
No.
has died. There were a few close calls. You thought you may have lost Giles, but then Kiri took her turn. Okay. You have a prisoner in this moment. You have the administration building not destroyed. You have Allegra, you have Mott, and you have Yadavastra all at your disposal. What do all of you wish to do?
Can we pull a card for the heal?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Okay. First draw. The Raven, the companion of Secrets, Ravens, Books, and Flame, jealousy, sight, and trickery. Companion to the Secrets family, the Raven sees everything and tells nothing. The Raven is smarter and wiser than it ever lets on. Its intelligence, however, manifests in its crafty solutions to problems. Some might use the word cheating, in fact. The Raven's weakness is greed and jealousy. It wants what you have, and that probably means your secrets. Can you keep them from its watchful eyes? Is it even worth trying? The Raven has both positive and negative connotations. Most commonly, it indicates that someone is watching, jealous, usually someone unexpected. It's also a warning to beware of greed and trickery. On the positive side, however, it advises vigilance, or suggests that there's a trick involved in that one must do to succeed. Either means that there's a problem that can be overcome. The sights seen by the too many eyes of the Raven are beyond anybody else's ability to cope. So, all right. So in this case, yeah, I think that you have several watchful figures. I think Yadavastra is taking in the situation, having kind of maintained this control over Ota Clasp's corporeal form, this entrapment that they have enabled. And then Ota Clasp is watching everything unfold, defeated with the knowledge that she knows that her political machinations are only making her that much more vulnerable. This is the
point of
tableau.
order.
Yeah.
If a companion card is drawn first, you immediately play another card.
And I shall. This is one of our favorites, the compelling voice. Invisible. Control, domination, and persuasion. The right voice can command an army. In a word or song, the compelling voice bids us to do something we might not do otherwise. It moves us, frightens us, appeals to our sense of reason. Those who master such a technique have a weapon in their arsenal equal to any other. Because the Secrets family is related to books, however, it's worth considering that the voice in question might actually come in the form of a written message. The speaker might be an author instead. Mostly, however, compelling voice is considered to be the outsider of the Secrets family. We follow the voice. We are compelled by the words. Okay. So, this tableau is arrayed in front of all of you. What do you wish to do?
I'm keeping control over Bob and Nikolai at the moment. I'm gonna we're out of turn order, so I'm just gonna make a quick roll because technically I have to do it each round. So
Yeah, totally.
while we're out of turn order, Zach, I'm gonna rely on you to just be like, hey, check on that. Because they
Yeah.
don't have souls right now, so they need a little help.
Yep.
And
So,
we're fine. I rolled a 7. It only depletes 0 to 1. So yeah, I don't necessarily need to concentrate on that. I've now created a mini hive mind, but I don't think it's a secret. Gav is looking at the rest of the thaw like, I would like to fix that.
absolutely. I think Ethereal in Nikolai's body, eyes aglow, no scleras or pupils visible for the light, looks at you and says, yes, there are a good number of them. And at which point, Ethereal Bob almost seems to kind of buoy up to you. Yes! What was it? Lord Kazan! It's so good to see you again! As you recognize the angel that was very excited to tell you just how many of them there were inside of your form. All 67 of us are ready to mete out divine justice!
It's my little, hey, listen.
Hey! Listen to us kick ass!
Love this guy. I think I might even ask Ethereal this, where it's just, do we think that with the thrall lack souls the same way that these two have?
And she looks at you and says, in all likelihood, yes.
Damn it.
There is something that has been afforded by these changes. Where the souls have gone, I know not. But I sense their absence. However, now that I am here, perhaps I can assist in locating where they might be.
Is Oda is also soulless at this moment, right?
That's a very interesting question. I am going to turn a card.
Ooh.
Because this is going to determine whether or not Oda did this selfishly, or whether or not it's because she no longer has her soul. Is she an opportunist or is she a pawn? We're going to find out. The cat, which is another companion.
It's pretty definitive.
Solitude, curiosity, cleverness, and dexterity. The cat is the companion of the Notions family. It watches over them and sometimes even protects them. Someone important to matters at hand is a misanthrope and lives alone. A cat takes an interest. A trap is sprung by curiosity. And NPC's cleverness gets them into trouble. I'm going to turn this over to you guys. Which is more interesting? The fact that she might be a Vespertine or the fact that she might be a soulless pawn?
Don't we technically draw another card?
That's only if it's the very first card you play in a session. The
understood.
adept commands a next card always.
I understand.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
say I
Yeah,
kind
go
of
ahead.
like the idea that, like, I mean, reading the cat into this, that it's almost like a refraction of what could have happened to Allegra in some respects. Like, she was just a very, curious, ambitious, like maybe somewhat scheming, maybe a little bit like out for herself kind of Vance, but like she was never a Vespertine agent all along kind of thing, but like fell in with the wrong crowd because she was promised power,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that sort of person, and then got in like way too deep and ended up kind of being used by them as a pawn, which is sort of the tragedy in its own right, is she got quote unquote the power she wanted, but she wasn't really like able to do anything with it because she was being puppeteered.
Absolutely. I think that you get the sense that maybe what Oda's changes represent is experimentation, as though they were working to perfect what you saw in your allies. Yeah, she just looks on despondently. I think almost with, I think finally being outside of the literal ivory tower of the administration building, looking on the destruction and realizing kind of what she has wrought. There is this, she just remains quiet within this spell.
How secure is it? Yadavastra got it locked down.
Yadavastra is a supreme magus. It'll end when they choose to end it.
Maurice first checks in with Allegra and says, what is that called? The long form magic?
Yes.
The
I acquired
document?
a monograph.
The monograph. And this
and-
allows us to do what?
We can transcribe a long form ritual and cast it from this monograph. There are still the terms of the ritual itself, but we have a number of power sources available to us. And I believe that I could write a ritual that would meet the needs of whatever end result we wish, but we would be able to use the seeds as a source of power.
We just need to figure out what we want to do. And he looks back and kind of steps up to the imprisoning orb, kind of puts his hands on it, says, hi.
She inclines her gaze towards you.
You don't seem
Yes.
like a person that worships nothing. If you long for the dark, I'm sure many of my companions would send you there immediately, but something tells me that's not what you want.
What is your proposal?
Tell me something I don't know. Tell me something interesting.
What would you like to know?
I'll put this question to the room.
How much do we think she knows?
Well, I will say I'm going to point out a few things, which is that she has been the acting supreme magus for some time. She has imprisoned Alinea, members of the Parasad, Gilles, as well as Jauro, who are all themselves pretty powerful or capable Vances. She has also spent the most time of anyone you know probably around in the presence of Marlowe.
Then I would love to know. I'm going to pitch it to the group first before I make a definitive decision in character. I'd love to know how we free the multifaceted one.
Okay. I'm going to turn a card. I'm going to see just what she understands, how much of this she knows. If I'm going to say if this is a nemesis card I draw, she's going to know a bunch, but not as much as you are asking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. From a more like surface level. Okay. All right. Man, the incriminating skull. Disaster, discovery, evidence, connections, friends, and family. The skull is uncovered, revealing a long-buried wrong. It is evidence of a crime. However, the skull was once a person, and that person's family and friends miss them. They wonder what happened to them, and discovering the remains of the victim actually brings them some comfort and closure on the situation. The evidence that is uncovered might be the result of a long investigation, or it might be entirely accidental and inadvertent. It might be something that people have long searched for, or the remains of someone or something that no one even knew was missing. Lastly, it might be something that someone was trying to actively conceal, or it might be the remains of some past event covered up only by time. The Raven...
Heck has never let me down.
The Raven remembers your sins. Incriminating Skull tells us that there's a deeper, darker meaning to the matter at hand. It presages failure, particularly being caught at wrongdoing. However, if the context is right, it might also simply indicate that a friend or relative, particularly one that has been long estranged, is involved in some way. Something that should have remained hidden becomes evident. A friendly NPC, particularly one with a bond to the PC, makes an appearance, or something happens that suggests a connection with them. Okay.
Well, shit, folks.
Yeah. She looks at you, and I think she inclines her head towards Yadavastra. As if, are you sure you want me to say what I'm about to say? And Yadavastra nods. We have been, as you know, the campus has taken a particular interest in the origins of Satyrine, at least within some institutions. My own particular interest coincided with this, and I learned several things. I learned of an entity that ancient Vislae had once called the Demiurge. Alternately, you may know it within the annals of this city as the Angular Serpentine. It is a figure that ancient Vislae said that they once discovered in the Sea of Abstraction. These Vislae learned from the Angular Serpentine the method by which one may traverse the path at will. But their scholars left only oral accounts of the history. I and my protege sought additional information. He and a friend went to a newly discovered liminal space, looking for additional information from which no other Vance had returned. I believe you call it the accidental space. Mott turns, looks at her through the globe. You. I remember you. And she looks back. Whatever Marlowe and his friend, and she nods to Mott, found, when he returned, he told me that he knew the true nature of everything, of the actuality. That, I believe, coincided with your own research, didn't it, Supreme Magus? Yadavastra turns to her. It did. To them. It did. I believe somehow you understood what I had been speculating about with the rest of the Telmeric court, that there is a hole in the world. I am still struggling to understand this, but I believe that there used to be an eighth sun. One of darkness, perhaps? Something unknown. Its energy, its powers were disseminated throughout the actuality. And in so doing, it corrupted it, perhaps. And what I have come to understand is that there is a hole in every plane in this way, this corruption. It's at the center of it. I believe it's partly why there is a night side to every sun. However, strangely enough, there is no night side to the gray sun. I believe that these things, these facts coincide, but until we know what Marlowe discovered, it's all correlation. There is something rotten at the whole of the actuality. And I'm not sure how it can be undone. And they look back at Ota, and she looks back to all of you and says, I am not certain it can be.
Who's responsible for this transformation?
Yes, Marlowe promised power. And he found a means by which to seize it. A eccentric, violent cult of nihilists in the actuality, in various suns, and particularly profligate throughout Saturnine and Indigo, the Vespertine, seemed like, well, an army that he could easily dominate. Marlowe Anvers is one of the finest Vances of this or any age. He was a mind shepherd. It was easy to see him go far in this order as he used his powers to help people make discoveries, to understand themselves, to understand himself. But something changed when he came back from the accidental space. And now, he is what he is. And if you have made it...
I don't care what Marlowe is. He's responsible for taking my people and my god and twisting them to whatever form he desired. And I will undo it. I think in saying this, if it wasn't obvious to Yada, Vastra, and Ota, I cast Eye of Amonis on myself and turn into my Arabast form.
And...
Carpal.
Carpal?
Technically, it is a spell, so it is a carpal.
Oh shit! Oh, card pool.
I heard carpool, and I was like, you want to ride a velociraptor?
Yeah,
dude, let's do it. I'm here.
Give Maurice uppies.
Uppies. Oh, this is fantastic. This is the dangerous elixir, power, transformation, risk, and consequences. Powerful magic comes in small, perhaps even innocuous forms. The dangerous elixir proves that to be true. It is powerful and transformative, but is it a boon or a bane? Are the potion's effects harmful or helpful? It's all about the risk you're willing to take and the consequences you're willing to face. It accentuates indigo. It weakens gray. This card turn offers power, but at a risk. Power can backfire. The dangerous elixir promises transformation, and that can be literal or figurative. It might transform a situation, changing the outcome of events, but there's still always that risk. Something's going to change, but will it be good or bad for the person in question? Should one turn the alchemist and the dangerous elixir consecutively, this is called the ultimate transformation, and it suggests total and complete upheaval of the situation, and possibly someone involved in it. An extremely powerful vislae is involved in the events at hand. An NPC takes a terrible risk to get what they want. Someone or something is magically transformed. Current events clearly carry major consequences depending on their outcomes. I think as this form...
I'll take the upheaval, thanks.
Yeah. We're gonna see, hold on, I'm gonna change this over to the path so everybody can see all the cards we've drawn. I will say this, whenever we get another card, if it's the alchemist, we'll see what happens.
Oh,
but
boy.
in the meantime, you see, I think that Ota, there is a sharp intake of breath, and you realize that she recognizes you.
Yeah, she knows what I am.
She looks at you, and I think she says, You are the ones that he found in the Sea of Abstraction.
Stole. And I'm not the one that he found. But I'm here to right that wrong.
Well, I have told you what I know. Is this to be the end of me?
Not yet. Let's say you won. We all got put in your cage. Where would you go? What's next? Where's Marlowe?
Marlowe. I imagine he would be in the heart, the seat of power. He would be in the Marquis district. But with all of this enchantment coming undone, I have to assume that that was your work. I think that he would be trying his best to maintain whatever control he could, or finding a way to fix and repair what you have done to his long workings. We can see now the truth of things. And that has resulted in chaos. And if there is anything that he abhors, it is chaos.
Sounds so fucking boring. Like, they just want to turn the world into no choices, no outcomes, no chances. That's worse than death.
And they're
At least-
using my people to power it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to rip that battery out.
Okay. I think she looks on, and she sits in the globe, and does not seem to make any additional motion. Mott looks at all of you. Allegra, Velia, you realize is crying. She hasn't stopped since Basil was teleported away. Mott looks at all of you. All right. We've got the makings of some sort of knowledge. What are we going to do with it?
Let me try to communicate with the multifaceted one. I may have a way to do so, but I need to get close. I'm not giving up just because this one says it's impossible. I don't trust her as far as I can throw her.
Legor, this could be the long form magic with the seeds. This could be the impossible thing that we do.
And she,
But am I correct that it would be the one shot?
She has been thinking. As you say this, you realize that she has been a couple of steps ahead of you. And she says, in order to change anything about the city, about Indigo, you will need to do so from a high vantage point. One from which you can see the entire city.
Well, isn't that a great coincidence?
I think the Sky Tower is dangerous. It is, as you've said, it is the multifaceted one. But if we find some place in which to conduct this ritual, I'm sure he will find us. At best, we need a place to prepare the ritual. The intended result, I had assumed, would be to reincarnate the god of truth, but it sounds like there is another potential avenue. But if we wish to accomplish more things, it would mean that we would need an additional, incredibly potent source of power. We do have one of you who is a pure Omega spell, and looks directly at you, Kiri.
Me? You want me to power something?
Or something as powerful. I don't know what the cost might be.
Isn't that what we came here to find? What else is on this campus?
There are...
Ota, what are we missing?
Ota looks and takes this in. A spell of sufficient power to change the actuality as a whole would take a prodigious amount of power. It occurs to me that one way that Marlowe could reestablish his ritual is through the use of souls. A sufficient number of them would mean that he might be able to reestablish the long form working.
He has all of my people's souls.
More's the pity.
Can't we take them from him?
Perhaps. But if I know my student, he will have prepared for this eventuality.
I don't care how well he's prepared. I'm getting them back.
As for another perhaps means of power, there is a number of artifacts that you have that I don't quite know if they would be enough. I see now what he tried to seize from the campus, and she points to the grimoire at your hip. Kiri, Adavastra's grimoire. There are bits of knowledge about the workings of long-form magic, adapting them. There are even some spells in there that I think may be of particular interest. I don't know if it means that you could perhaps use the grimoire to power your spell, or find some way to alter it. That said, there is quite another potent book. I can feel it. I recognize it. Book M, is it not?
Kiri, like, protectively kind of shields it a little.
If you wish to have a practical source of power, the scribings of some of the greatest advances of this or any age are absolutely the thing you would need against the current crop, the current generation of powerful Vance. But you see where my judgment got me. Yadavastra is taking all of this in. Allegra is also calculating. You realize the two of them are thinking on what Ota has said, but they have not raised a voice in opposition or in contradiction.
Maurice wants to say something to Oda through the orb.
Very well.
At a very low level, so that no one without making very special effort would hear this. And says, "Are you a soul ready to atone? I see a very powerful mage in front of me."
I'm going to turn a card. We don't have an alchemist, unfortunately. The Endless Maze. Accentuates blue, weakens red. Journey, long spans of time. Insanity and inner turmoil. This is an ill-met card. At best, it indicates there is much to do, but even then, the process is long, likely because it is difficult, confusing, or maddening. The traveler will get lost. One will be caught within the worst labyrinth of all, one's own tumultuous mind. She had a map, but it would still be a long journey, fraught with peril. I am going to, because this can go either way, because this is a long journey to atonement, I will let you make an interaction roll. I am going to set her difficulty. It is 10. If you can beat that challenge with your interaction roll, I will say that she will volunteer to assist.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right.
Got 2 bene in interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend a sortilege.
Mm-hmm.
This is... Can I add 1 for understanding people's motives?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can Legend give me +1? Because that's what he does. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm starting out with 4.
Okay.
And I'm rolling for a 10.
You are.
Okay.
Give me 1 success.
I've got 1 success. I've got
Okay.
an 11.
She looks at you and whispers back in just a low tone. I very well might.
Maurice kind of just gives a double tap on the glass and nods, keeping her gaze.
Yadavastra inclines their head to look at you as if to ask, are you sure?
We need all the help we can get.
Ota unceremoniously drops to the ground, manages to find her feet underneath her before stumbling. Well then. I can only think of a couple of places that have the height that one might require. And she looks, I think, through the campus in the direction of the Topiary district. The etheric radio station has a very tall tower. Probably the tallest structure in this city. But getting there will be a challenge. The city is unraveling.
We could fly.
Oh? How so?
Twig rummages around in their coat for a little bit, pulls out like a few random bits and bobs, like bits of novel that have been left over, a couple, like what appears to be a particularly moldy banana. Weird number of feathers. It looks like at some point Gav was shedding And I think Twig picked him up just in case it became relevant later. And then finally pulls out a small medallion in the shape of a raven's head.
As you produce this, all of you hear the telltale flicker of neon as behind you on one of the walls of the campus buildings, you see a sign that lights up that reads zeros. At which point, I think Mott looks at you, Twig, and says, "You might want to save this. I'm going to take this as a good omen."
Teach
All right.
their own.
Excellent. At which point, I will say, if you wish to
God,
still...
I love a drink.
I will say, if you wish to take this course of action, I'm not stopping you, but just know that the door to zeros has appeared behind you. Which do you choose?
No, Twig's already changed their minds.
Zeros is always a good option.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, we are going to take a 10-minute break as all of you walk through the door into zeros. You guys have managed to walk into zeros, and I think this calls for a jaunty tune. So
I just poured more wine for myself.
all of you are met by the sound of kind of a highfalutin jazz and low-key vibes as you recognize in behind the bar is Roz, the ever-present bartender of Zeros. However, this space has enlarged considerably, large enough to hold dozens, if not hundreds of people, and hold hundreds of people it does. People in various states of injury, in various states of disarray. You see that there are people scattered throughout at the tables. There are makeshift triage areas happening for treating of the wounded. You see several familiar faces here, among the sea of Saturninians that have made their way to here for a safe haven. You realize that Zero, or Roz as it may be, has been busy. And they look at you with their Vanta Black hair coiffed into a short cut and wearing rolled up sleeves and a very elegantly patterned vest with a silver and black and with speckles of red bow tie. And they look at you and say, "Oh, if this isn't a few of my favorite customers, what'll it be?"
Maurice looks around and says, "Always a pleasure to see a professional at work."
I'm so glad I get to finally recognize you. I wasn't sure who I got a chance to talk to before, but now you seem whole, and I'm so happy that we get to make each other's acquaintance once again, Your Highness. Or do you go by that anymore?
Call me Mo.
Mo, glad to have you back. And I think that once again they are polishing glasses, some of them levitating, some being poured to other patrons on either side of the bar. There are, like I said, a number of familiar people, and I'm going to turn a card to see if anybody in particular is here. So, the card that I draw is the unknowable truth that strengthens indigo and weakens gray. Truth, searching, and futility. The raven stands watch over the unknown. As we strive for understanding, the closer we get to the truth, the farther away it becomes. We know this to be true, but only after we've made the journey. The truth is, we learn is that we cannot actually know the truth. At the very heart of the secrets family, the unknowable truth is the ultimate secret. The secret that cannot be, by its very nature, learned. But we still try anyway. And it is futile, and yet it is productive. Even when you climb an infinite mountain, you're still moving forward. The foolish find the unknowable frustrating. I find it sustaining. Speaking of unknowable figures, you see a thought form in complete disarray. Their uniform, their overalls, which are those of a topiary district worker, completely shredded, as though they've been taking shrapnel or like just every manner of mishap and terrible thing. You recognize Ziggy, the thought form, and almost from behind you, as though they kind of slinked and in order to kind of get the jump on you, you hear, "Oi! Fancy seeing all of you here." And you see Slipping Jack. All right. How's everybody doing this fine day? Nice day for a cocktail, I have to say. You realize that Slipping Jack is looking at you, Gabrielle, as a, "Oi, aren't we supposed to be taking orders from you?"
Oh. Shit. I think Gav's just realized that he's been recruited.
Hey. Yeah, so, what brings you lot? Everything looking dire out there for you as it does for us?
Extremely, but we have a plan.
Oh, well, at least somebody does.
Exactly how many members of my brotherhood are here?
Well, right now it's just been the Midnight Cell what's joined. The Midnight Cell. What, you don't know about the Midnight Cell?
I know a little bit. I've been delegating.
All right, yeah, just keep it secret. Keep operational security. I can appreciate that.
Parker's so mad about this. What? About this?
Hate him.
I love him. Is it
This
better-
isn't
would you
even a
like-
character thing. The characters are fine with him.
would you like
I,
it if I did
Hopper.
the voice. Does that make you feel better? Because I can do my creepy
No.
voice again.
No. No. Hey,
And-
hey,
yeah.
hey,
Oh.
hey, look at me. No.
I like it when I do my Slipping Jack voice.
I'm
I'm gonna leave the call.
This is a Zoom.
Hi, I love all of you, and I will leave.
This is a Zoom call. You can't get a spray bottle big enough. Anyhow, as if
I know
to,
where you live. I know where both of you live. I can be there in under 20 minutes.
Has plenty of time to prepare.
as if almost like pushing him out of the way, you see Mac, a figure that is once again very familiar to you. You see Mac, the weaver who you last saw in a vision attending the Circus of Nons. He looks at you animatedly, Maurice, and just says, "Mr. Webb, Master of the Weave, Webb, it's good to see you again."
Bring it here, Mac. Good to see ya.
And he just brings in like this big hug, at which point he's just like, "So I've been doing some discovery, some self-discovery, some self-teaching,
I'm
and
sure.
what have you." Yeah, no, I gotta tell you, I was talking to your friends, Rajathamos and Kenroy, and I heard back. They came back from the Sea of Abstraction. Sounds real important. But anyhow, so basically, they made me realize what kind of vislae I am.
Other than great, you mean?
Oh yeah, well, obviously, I'll tell you. So, I used to think maybe, I had this inclination towards monologuing and like performance, and I thought I was like an actor or something back in Indigo, back when apparently I was a vislae. But it turns out, apparently, I channel power. I didn't quite understand what they meant, but I think I know what it means, which is it means I can call the powers of people to me. Like people I've never met. I hope they don't take offense to it.
That sounds incredibly useful. How have you been keeping busy?
Well, I was working for the circus a little while. When I was in the gray, I always wanted to run away and join the circus, so I joined the circus, but the thing about it is it's just kind of the same as a regular circus from back home, because they're nuns and they don't practice magic, but because I practice magic, I'm actually a good stagehand for them. Make sure that, if they fall without a net, that I'm there to catch them and what have you. The circus is kind of a weird thing I've been finding.
I guess
Yeah.
what I meant to ask was how have you been keeping busy since, all this?
Well, that's what I said.
Right. It's a scream of someone injured. That's it. Well, then that's great. That's great, Mac. How long have you been in Zeros?
Oh, well, there was, I was off in Quiet Lake for a show, and then, the Thaw and what have you, they started showing up. They were looking like they were looking for folks like me, and then I saw these big dogs, but they were hairless, and they had little things attached to the back of their heads. Weren't like any dog that I'd saw. Them dogs will hunt, it turns out. But yeah, I was
That
about
dog
to...
real sick.
That dog real sick. But the thing about it was that they looked like they were about to get the jump on all of us. And then, right in the tent, I just saw this neon sign flicker, and there was a door, and, between a rock and a hard place, you're going to choose the hard place every time.
Absolutely. Mac, it's really good to see you. When I didn't know that you were all right, I genuinely worried about you.
I wish I could say the same. As you see a woman with raven black hair falling down to her shoulders, wearing a black goth kind of almost fairy tale style dress with deep sunken eyes with black mascara. Just the goth queen of all goth queens. And she looks at you and extends her hand, almost stage stepping in front of Mac, and says, "I believe we haven't been acquainted yet.
The pleasure is all
officially.
mine.
Infalosa, the minister of the Church of Midnight. Pleasure to make your acquaintance now that you've had the opportunity to write some editorials about me."
I did, didn't I? I trust not too many problems on your end from that.
I found it refreshing to have somebody actually oppose me. You realize that once all of this is done, I will have to find some way to kill or oppose you. But in the meantime, we are at similar purposes.
Indeed. Well, like I said, the pleasure is all mine.
And she inclines her head, and you realize that there is kind of like a moment, there's a little flicker in her eyes as she looks at you. Before she turns her head, her gaze, and meets the eyes of Nikolai, who is, go ahead and roll me a depletion, please.
Oh, yeah, sure. This thing is fading. Oh, that's a 9. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. She meets Nikolai's gaze. "Oh, friend Nikolai." And there's a moment where she looks at him and her eyes go black and then return. What's wrong with Nikolai?
He's missing his soul at the moment, but we will recover it when we are able to locate where it is. He's currently under the protection of my choir.
I know you. He has spoken very fondly of you,
I don't
Nikolai.
know you, but I'd like to.
Very well, then you shall. I was a friend to Nikolai when he first came. He was a mess, crying about a war in the gray, in shadow, lamenting the loss of his dear friend. I assume that you are her.
Yes. And I'm back for another war, it seems.
Isn't that always the case?
And you must be the head of my midnight cell.
Yes. I found your cause inspiring.
Then I think I owe you a drink.
I would be delighted. And she kind of moseys up to the bar with you. However, you see another familiar figure. At least you have seen the sheen of her before. You see an armored figure, like a living knight's armor. And this knight's armor is in a feminine form. It does not resemble actual, real plate, because it would not be feminine if it were real. But it is almost shaped like an automaton with feminine features. And you see at the heart of underneath its breastplate a rib cage that is actually a what look to be wrought iron gate posts. And you see Alyaska of the Forged begins moving to you, Kiri, and says, "Thank you for allowing me to once again look for my love." The last time you saw her, she was an actual gate.
You were in a bank vault last time I saw you, right?
Yes, that is
You
correct.
You seem to have come a long way since then.
Yes, it has been a journey, and I continue my search for she who bid me wait, but I have no doubt that in time I will find her. I thank you for the opportunity to continue my search.
Oh, well, where haven't you looked?
Well, so many places in the actuality. I don't believe that I've managed to make it beyond the city. There's so many places here. But once I do the whole of Indigo, then will I leave and perhaps take a sunship, find another place to look. Assuming I don't find her here.
Well, what does she look like?
She is so beautiful. And she takes you aside in hand and begins kind of recounting her and begins kind of giving you a description. However, I think at this point, as she kind of pulls you to one side, one of you, I believe it was Maurice, you feel a rustling in your pocket. As something seems to kind of rotate and shift, and leaping out of your pocket, or whoever's it found its way into, you see Kieran's eyeball roll to an outstretched hand on the floor. And you see Kieran von Mielis wearing his signature goggles and kind of cowl enter Zeros, or at least try to find his way to all of you. And I think at this point he steps forward and looks at you, Okris. Or Twig, rather. Well, I'm glad some things are still here. How have we been getting on? What is the situation report?
Are you talking about me or the furniture?
I'm talking about you. What is
Oh,
what is the
I always
state
got
of...
I always got the impression you didn't like me.
Well, I'm going to like you less when I have to leave and secure your life. That's for sure.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
I have to set things in motion, you realize.
Nice.
And you see him brandish a big fuck off pistol.
Oh, come on. We're not doing this again, right?
No, we've already done it. Well, you've already had it done. I have to go back and do it.
God. I hate time. I hate
No.
linear time. Things were so much easier when there was less linear time.
Yes, well, I thought so too until it turns out that I can move it backwards and forwards. So I learned to grapple with it, as it were.
Look, I know I'm not exactly a paragon of manners or like what's the thing that it's called, like when you know what to do in a circumstance and like the proper behavior?
Etiquette?
Yeah, etiquette. I don't know what the etiquette is, but it feels fucking weird to show up to tell me in person that you're gonna go back in time and shoot me in the face.
Well, first off, I'm not shooting you in the face. I'm shooting you in the back of the head.
Oh, I'm sorry. In the skull.
But not only that, it's not like it's going to actually kill you. If anything, it'll help you. That's at least how it's been designed. And you know that it has to happen because it already has happened.
Does that mean that it... Wait, hold up. Are you saying that it could go different?
We've already had this conversation. You tried to stop me. I reversed that. This is just a courtesy.
Why? It's so much worse than just doing it and not telling me.
Well, I have a situation report that I have to give to everyone else.
You could have avoided announcing this.
You
But
know,
now I'm just gonna think about the taste of no.
you
I don't
know,
want to.
you do have a point. I was erring on the side of efficiency.
I think
and-
you just wanted to tell me you were gonna shoot me.
Well, if I'd told Okris, it would have been over. And he looks at all of you. I think he looks back to you and says, I assume that all of you being here means that you have secured all of the seeds of truth.
We have.
All right.
Nah, just taking a quick breather. We're gonna go back and deal with it later.
You know, I am truly sorry that this had to be the inciting incident, as it were, but needs must.
Are
This
you?
is- Yes?
No, are you sorry? Because I.
Okris Twig, I have lived so much more time than I should have. I have escaped death by the skin of my teeth. I have died and come back by the skin of my teeth. I do truly wish that I had any other existence. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna turn this to Bill. Bill, how does Kieran actually feel about all this?
It's unsensible to think that it could be any different. Resigned, dutiful. Am I hearing this right, that this is going to close his book?
This is gonna close the loop so that this is going to stop the paradox from happening. But what is going to happen? What you don't know whether or not he's going to come back. Is the
I
question.
think he is. Hoping he doesn't. He is so tired.
And I think that as he looks at you, Twig, he just, once again, I think he says, well, needs must. And you see that exhaustion, that tiredness in his face. as he kind of pulls off the goggles, and you see the indents in his skin where they have been sat for overlong, in front of a demonic workbench that fits into a suitcase. And not only that, but you see as he wears these goggles how covered in rime and brittle his skin looks. And this is a man that understands that time must be corrected, that time, even when corrected, has a way of flowing towards an inevitable conclusion. And he looks to you and says, I only had the time to make one of these. I literally finished my work today. One of them I need, but this one you can have. And he gives you a demon bullet. As he places it in your hand, it growls. There is a ferocity that you can feel radiating off of it. A malice. Save this for Marlowe.
Understood.
I have some means, some resources I can afford all of you. Is there anything that you require in this moment? Perhaps information. Where I go, I'm not sure when I'll be back, if I'll be back.
Maree shares the plan for the long-form ritual.
If we still had the oblong chamber, I would perhaps be able to afford you more time, but with the destruction of the Acclimation Center, it's no longer a resource. Your warning saved so many of the Reapers. In point of fact, a couple of people wish to express their gratitude. And you see, flanked by Ashwin Katri, you see a small diminutive form that cries out, "Dad!" As Duncan races forward and leaps into your arms.
Oh, sure. Oh, God. Oh, it's so good to see you, boy.
Ashwin looks at you and says, he was pretty beside himself until I promised that I would take him to you as soon as I could. I figured once we entered into zeros, it was only a matter of time. And as you look at Ashwin, what had been a slow metamorphosis into the cragged, almost like moon surface, like skin, has almost completely changed. It is now not only his entire face that has become kind of pockmarked like a full moon, but also you see his hands similarly craggy, or their hands, I should say. And they look at you and say, "How have you been?"
Racing towards the end, my friend. I can't thank you enough for taking care of my boy.
It's my pleasure. They tipped us off to a brawn. We managed to escape, but whatever a brawn did brought down the rest of the Acclimation Center. Many of the Reapers made it out. Some of them didn't, but we all would have died without your help. Without Duncan, let's be honest.
Good boy.
Oh,
Good boy.
Oh, Dad, I'm so happy you're here. You know I love you, right?
I love you too.
Oh. Lick.
Legend has not left Oda's side. Legend has been like kind of tripping up Oda, being very in the way. And Legend is really, really trying. Like we are reaching the limits of Legend's discipline to not interact here. But he's a good boy, and he's staying next to Oda.
As you see him growl, another dog, smaller in size, limps to one side of Legend. And you recognize the nameless dog that you found in your home, Veroth. And you see them almost kind of check each other, and you see this diminutive dog kind of nip at Legend as he looks like he's about to take a bite out of Oda. And Legend looks aggressively. There's a low growl, and then seems to think better of it, and then turns his attention back to his duty.
Maurice mutters under his breath, my mom always said, one dog is a pet, but two or more is dogs. He makes his way to the bar.
Okay.
He excuses himself from Ashwin, and he gets Roz's attention and says, I don't know if this is on the menu. I'm looking for something that tastes like sincere condolences or sympathy.
I can absolutely pour sympathy for you out, my friend. And they do this. They pour a concoction that is bittersweet, probably almost like with a little bit of warmth, but tastes kind of flat and bitter on the tongue. The closest real-world approximation might be a Negroni.
Maurice nods, takes the drink, gives it a nice smell, and walks over to Avelia.
Avelia is surrounded by all of these strangers. You realize that she hasn't spent much time outside of the Candleflame Keep. She has been very much the Saturninian equivalent of a latchkey kid in her 20s. And she's bombarded by all of this while never having really been outside of the world that she grew up in. And she looks at you, and there is kind of a just inscrutable look on her face, but you know that she is feeling so many emotions at once looking at you. What's this?
He says, this is for you. Basil's okay. I sent him to the blue.
He knew that he would have to go there, but I don't think that he thought he would end up so empty-handed when he arrived. He doesn't... If what I heard is true, he doesn't even have his soul, Maurice. He'll
In
be
my
so
opinion, they're
lost.
overrated.
Why did you do that? Why didn't you try to help him?
I think I did. You see, Mara is my godmother.
Why didn't you help him from the start?
I have been pulled in too many directions, and I've had to make tough choices. I have to make a tough choice even now, Avelia. Look around you. The suffering here, if I let it, it would break me. And I want nothing more than to triage the hurt.
Make me an
I'm
interaction
called
roll.
elsewhere. Okay.
This is gonna be 8.
Not good. think I have to let this ride.
Okay. You had to
Will
call.
you let me have understanding people's motives?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I need to hit a 7.
Okay.
It's an 8.
Okay. As you look at her, there are a couple things that I think that you realize, which is she wonders. There's probably a few things that are wondering about. I'm trying to think about what you are going to get off of her in this moment without basically reading her mind. And the thing I'm kind of coming to is that she is looking at you searchingly, because she is trying to reconcile what you are telling with her with the amount of power that you are displaying, that you have displayed in front of her, the thing that she has heard that you want to do. And it is, I will say that it is hard for this not to ring hollow to her, but you understand that that is what you must do in order to convince her that you are in the right here.
So he continues and says, I have to go. I bear a seed of truth. And my place is with the other 3. And I can't help with any of this. Even I can't be in 2 places at once.
Well, when this is over, will you help me, or will you abandon him again?
I don't know what I'm going to be able to clean up after this. But Avilia, I promise you, if I'm able, I will not abandon Basil. He's my responsibility.
He's your son.
I'm his father.
And you realize she has nothing left to say.
He walks away for a moment and turns back. You're not helpless, you know. Whatever you want in this moment, whatever you can do, Saturnine needs it.
As you turn, she nods. And when you turn away, if the camera were to stay on her, you would see her holding her father's crown and running her fingers along the groove of it. What Saturnine needs. And we'll cut away from that moment. You have this crew arrayed in front of you. If there is anybody else that you want to send a message to try and get them to come here, you certainly may in this moment, or you may speak to more of the folks that you have encountered. What would you guys like to do?
Twig, I think after acquiring a drink from Zero, just something that tastes like victory, is going to go over to Kieran. You know, I realize a lot of the time I come off as flip or disrespectful, and that's because I am. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate what you've done for them.
For who?
Twig, generally, gestures around with their head.
Well, it's a terrible burden, you know. Knowing what the world used to be before it fell to this rot. Remembering, perhaps with rose-tinted goggles, where neighbors were neighborly, where people were responsible, where government was effective. Maybe that's an illusion, a lie I tell myself. Maybe it was never good. Maybe what we are doing is regressing to a mean. But it has to be better than what we're bound for if we do nothing. And maybe I'm not doing it for them. Maybe I'm doing it because there's no other option. This alternative is horrifying. I'm not sure how noble that motivation is. I'm just an old spy.
Maybe we're all defined by our internal structures. It's not how I remember the world. It's not how we remember the world. But at the risk of sounding patronizing, which I do want to avoid, things change, and it doesn't ever stop. Could I trouble you for a favor?
Name it.
And Twig is going to slip an envelope from inside one of their plentiful pockets and hand it to Kieran.
Shall I read this here?
No.
When then?
When you're far enough back.
I will.
And, go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just going to say, please make sure you don't fuck up the shot. Like, it's just... I realize technically it's already happened, but like, I'm so pretty. And do you remember how we used to look?
I remember your counterpart was not so concerned with their appearance, but they did cut a fine figure in armor.
Yep. Space squid.
All right. Well, the hour grows short. I wish we had a 13th.
Pesky thing keeps getting lost. Don't worry about it.
Maybe we can find it again. All right. I'll take my leave then. He will... I think if any of you have anything left that you want to say to Kieran before he travels back, now's the time. Otherwise, he is going to make one last kind of interaction. Does anybody have anything they need to do?
Not with Kieran.
Okay. Kieran is going to go up to you, Maurice, and say, you have to succeed. This has to work. We've waited too long. We've bided too much of our time. We've lost too many people. A part of me blames you for what transpired, even though I know you were doing what was in your power. But you cannot fail. Not now.
Maurice, very suddenly and strongly grasps Kieran by the forearm and brings him close and says, "Brother, I promise you, we'll win."
He nods, and like a shadow, he slips out of the bar, out of this time, and into another. Okay. Does anybody else have anything they need to say to anybody here? Or anything that... Yeah.
Kiri is gonna get a shot of courage from Roz at the bar. Just very quickly down it, steel herself, take a breath, and stride over to Allegra.
Okay. Allegra is standing over beside Yadavastra, who is seated in their chair, and next to Ota. All of them are pondering. If you had permitted it, they would have taken Book M, Allegra's grimoire, and I am assuming you would not have let Zaleska's grimoire out of your sight. They're working through Book M and Allegra's grimoire if you permitted it.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. They're just making conjectures, making notes, points. When you begin to approach, Allegra looks up.
All right, out with it. So how long do I have?
What do you mean?
My soul, or Arwen's soul, it's gone. What does that mean for my blueprint, my construct? Am I unstable now? Am I going to disintegrate? You're my creator.
She, I think, looks as though she's about to say something particularly cutting, and then you see a iron grip of Yadavastra on her hand. And Yadavastra says, "Come here, my dear. Let me look at you. Let me really look at you."
Kiri, I think, who is like stealing for a fight, like just a little bit of her like relaxes at Yadavastra's words just by instinct of an older man's like having some authority in a situation. And she's sort of like chin up, still very defiant, kind of begrudgingly acquiesces.
And they gently touch their hands. At least they kind of move their hands forward and they say, "May I?"
Please.
They touch your temples. And you see their eyes flash indigo as they look and take you in. And they incant something and begin whispering something, which as you listen, and because you understand the words, you understand what they are incanting, which is, it is a spell of identification, of understanding, of basically true sight into your very nature. And this process takes several minutes as they appear to kind of examine you almost medically, taking you in. There is not really any, kind of hesitancy. There's no kind of wondering. It's all fluid, as though Yadavastra has done this 1,000 times. Looks at you finally and says, "So, I can finally definitively say that as a pupil, you have outstripped my greatest expectations and hopes for you. I can't believe I did not see this before. A Supreme Magus should be aware of when they are in the presence of an Omega spell, but you are not quite that. You are your own reinvention. And perhaps what Arwen was a scaffolding upon which you could grow. For whatever you are now, you are wholly unto yourself. I detect no absence of a soul. You are a creation that has superseded the expectations of your spell writer. And quite frankly, her ability. I don't know what comfort that brings you, but I hope it gives you some measure of it.
So I'm not going to disintegrate into a billion pieces of magical energy?
I believe only if you want to. There might be some side effects. I quite frankly can't even determine what it might look like if magical flux may trigger around you now. But provided you are careful with your spell casting and avoid such circumstances, I imagine you are wholly inviolable in your form. And as if to kind of punctuate this, you see that seed, almost kind of a fulge in your chest. Through your dress, you see that indigo light circulate, as if to point out, because of the seed of inner truth, your form is immutable. You cannot be transformed or controlled against your will.
I feel like Kiri contemplates this and she says, so what I am, can what you do, what's it for? I mean, what am I supposed to do? What was I made for? She decidedly does not look at Allegra.
Well, many spells that are summoned by Vances, they have a purpose that is inherent in their nature that Vances discover. When you think of a Vance that writes a spell, it is not as though they are writing it and sculpting it themselves. It's more of a process of discovery, a process of experimentation, understanding what the form of the spell, what its potential is. Your potential in this point was to safeguard knowledge. And I think as a librarian, you have done a completely measured and immeasurable job of doing just that. Perhaps that is your grander purpose, is to transport, to safeguard and protect, and to ultimately make sure that such knowledge is not misused.
Hold on, are you saying I chose this? Are you saying that I chose her? That she called me out of the and I came to her willingly?
I think that with the use of certain materials, it may have been like a baited hook. A soul has a great deal of power wherever it is marshaled or used or exposed. demons seek them out, for they have no souls of their own, then devour them and lament the loss and the absence of the soul in turn. There are great and powerful patrons that may exploit or use soul magic. I think that if you were a spell wandering in the ether, heretofore undiscovered, the dangling of a soul that was much aligned with your own personality or purpose would have been a great beacon in the darkness. Perhaps that is what you chose, and not what purpose your maker had intended.
I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have chose her.
I am getting that strong sensibility, yes.
I mean, I'm her job, you know. Protect your property, right, spell writer?
If that is enough, we have work to be doing here. I'm sorry, I have to focus on the long-form ritual we need to save the actuality.
Oh yes, our grand hero, Allegra von Hollingsworth, who knows everything and has the answer to every problem at the tip of her fingers. I do look forward to seeing with what you come up with. I am on bated breath and tenterhooks until you decide to let the rest of us in on your little secret.
She looks like she's about to say something, thinks better of it, and then turns her attention back to the monograph. But in one corner of your eye, you see in your periphery vision a sight that you haven't seen in some time. You see a mirror, a very small one. You see your eye reflected back in its plane, back to you. And you hear a whisper in your mind. When she's done, we can take her. We can remove her, like you promised. And when we do this, we will reward you. Once we, of course, find the sculptor. Together, we will be perfected, and we will owe you a great boon, you beautiful, shining thing. What do you say back to the mirror?
I think Kiri wandering over to it, almost like that person at a party who you don't quite know if they're keeping to themselves or if they're just uncertain. She's in the corner with it. I did make you that promise.
You did.
And after all, I mean, look what she did to me.
So unjust.
Yes, it is unjust, isn't it?
We would correct this for you.
I mean, she's so arrogant, like she knows everything. And
Nothing.
she's not my sister. She's not my family.
She's not family.
No, she's not, is she?
A shadow.
In fact, she was almost just like him, like Marlowe.
She was.
Who are you talking to? Gav slides a drink over to Kiri, seeing you isolated over there.
Kiri, like,
Talking to
jumps.
yourself, not very helpful. Also, not a good sign. You have to have your head on a swivel. We're about to kill some Nazis.
As Gavriel has your attention, you not having seen them move, you see Roz smash the mirror with a quick movement. No mirrors and zeros.
Oh, I didn't even see it there. Good, aim.
And you are beckoned by Gabrielle.
You ready for this?
I suppose ready as I'll ever be.
You're right. That was a rhetorical question. It doesn't actually matter.
Oh, well, are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
That wasn't a rhetorical question. And it does matter.
Thank you. And I am being very serious. I am more than ready for this. I've been looking forward to killing that bastard for a while now.
Gav, I have a question for you.
Oh boy.
This, you know, I guess, what I am now, or how I came to be, sort of, at least as much as I do. Is it evil, do you think?
What? To have made you?
No, what I am. Where I...
Why would it be evil?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know anything about myself.
Are you
except
evil? You've certainly not been acting like it. You haven't more than enough opportunities.
All right, but I came from something else. I mean, you've only met some of your people, kind of.
True. I'm sure I won't like all of them, but that doesn't mean they deserve to live in complete slavery to a madman.
No, of course not. But do you ever wonder, not having that connection to the part of your history, like what it is, where it came from?
All the time. And the only way that I'm going to get any answer to that is if I save them. And God, I guess. While we're at it. No big deal, right?
I mean, saving a god, there are, I guess, shorter orders than that.
I will say this. I know enough to understand them. And I'm starting to realize that that might be exactly why I was placed where I was in the Grey. That I'm not quite sure that there was a difference between who I am and who I was, or what I am made to be. I think that they are the same.
Scaffolding.
Framing.
Well, what you are now is someone who's leading a revolutionary organization.
Loosely.
Well,
But I was
there's
never very good at the leading part of it.
divisions now. And from such humble origins.
Oh, what is this? You've been equally a part of all of that.
I
What,
know,
you think
don't
because
you?
you found out that you're a spell that it makes any difference? It doesn't.
No, I remember being in the ruined expanse and you trying to sort of construct some sort of an office from which to base
Thank you.
all of your operations. It was...
Well, I think you're giving yourself much too little credit. It matters where you come from, of course it does, but your insistence that it isn't important or it's not real because it's not what you expected. I don't know. I think you could give yourself a lot more grace than you are.
Well, co-revolutionary leaders, huh? We gotta stick together.
That is true, no matter how annoying you are. It doesn't matter if you're a spell or you might be from a living, breathing person. That part is still true.
I guess if I was evil, I would be less annoying, huh? Or maybe more.
I'm not sure about that. What I am sure is that if you were truly evil, you probably would have ripped out my seed of truth a long time ago, because that was the one you really wanted.
That is right. I could
But
have
you
just
didn't.
taken that, huh?
But you didn't.
Well. What are you
Well, maybe-
drinking?
I'm not actually sure. Ross just
It's
kind of handed it to me, and right before a battle, you don't really question so much what it is, so much as you're concerned that there is actually some sort of alcohol in the glass.
I decided to give her a little taste of home.
Oh, it's just straight vodka.
It's a mix. Something native to the Sea of Abstraction for a little bit of flavor. And yes, also vodka. I hope you enjoy it. With a little twist of lemon.
Nice.
You know, it's hard to think that I may end up having to put all the chairs up and close this place down for good.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I know. Ultimately, you will succeed.
You know this for a fact?
No. But I know this city. That even if you don't succeed here, this city, it is alive. And it will find a way to resist. To buoy its champions. I should know, I tried to eat it once. Didn't agree with me. But one last libation, for old time's sake. A little something that I have concocted. And they push forward one last shot. And they pour themselves one. So, to who or what are we drinking? And they look to each of you. Well, don't be shy.
Each of you, as in Gav and Kiri in this scene?
As in Gav, Kiri, Maurice, and Twig. I think that they have beckoned you all to them.
Okay.
Feels a little audacious to toast to victory. I realize that's what I've been drinking.
You've been literally drinking victory, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah. That feels a little audacious.
Nah. And Maurice grabs the shot. I think it's more in the vein of manifestation. Cheers.
Oh, that one's... And Twig's going to say, oh, that one's mine, just as you drink it. It is absolutely puckish rogue, not victory. Just so you know.
Ha ha!
So I will say that they have also pushed forward these little shot glasses, if all of you are downing them.
Yeah. To the resistance. Sometimes it really shows you who the real people are in a city.
And I think they then look to you, Kiri, for your toast.
Yeah, I think Kiri looks at the others and says, "To the truth and to what lies beyond."
And they raise a glass and say, "To raw potential," which coincidentally is the name of this drink. And they wink at you, Gav. And you down your beverage. And as a result of downing this beverage, all of you get a free rest.
We love that.
That's
Hooray.
phenomenal stuff.
All right.
Real good for my stats.
Hell yeah.
Does anybody have any remaining business in zeros before you prepare for this final encounter?
No, I want to shoot Marlowe.
I don't necessarily have to have a scene about this, but Maurice wants to maybe have done a little information gathering, or that sounds way too intense. He just like getting the vibe of this whole triage thing and like kind of making the rounds and getting a good look at everybody, and tries to coordinate with anybody who's not directly coming with us on this next step.
Okay.
And appoints Ashwin as the point person of this, and says that the Reapers need to go against their oath and start bringing Vislae back to the Gray.
Back.
Get the people of Saturnine to safety.
All right.
Unless you've got a better idea on how to keep them safe. I don't think we can fit them all in here.
We need all the firepower we can muster, but
Anyone who's ready to fight should stay, of course.
And they acknowledge this, and very well. Let us hope that there's more of the latter than the former. But
He
the
takes
former
Ashwin by the shoulders and says, "Lifeboats, Ashwin. Lifeboats. That's all."
You're right. I will endeavor to find them. And he begins, or they begin rounding everybody up and kind of like begins the process of just saying, all right, everybody, listen up. There are a few things that you need to know. And begins kind of instructing them on finding the ways of the Reapers and accompanying them if they wish to leave. Those who wish to stay will stay. The rest of the Midnight Cell is here, and they will try to travel with you unless you have additional instructions for them to try to give you an advantage.
If anything, I'd want them to go to the Barquest district ahead of us.
And they will definitely do that. What about the Dodo Cell? Any other compatriots? Anybody else that you want us to contact? Sorry, this is Slipping Jack. Anybody else you want us to contact? Get in touch with, give them a little tap on the shoulder.
Any members of the Pinion Brotherhood that you can find.
Yep.
Half of them meet us at the Marquez district. The other can meet us at the radio tower, just in case we need backup.
Very well. Consider
And put a small
done.
contingent near the Vancian campus. I want to keep an eye on it.
Oi, Ziggy, you want to get scholarly? And the thought form just blankly looks back. Very well. Your wish is my command. And he looks at you, Maurice, kind of chuckling as he says that. Anything else?
You're very creepy. Thank you.
I'll endeavor to do my best. And
Wait, Curie. Mr. Slipping Jack, sir, you are from around the Topiary district, right?
yeah, Mr. Slippin' Jack was my father. You can just call me Jack.
Jack, of course. There's this tree. With everything going on, roots and all can't always protect themselves. Can you just check in on a tree called Fix Up?
Oh, I can certainly do that. The one that's doing the walloping up in Topiary.
Walloping?
Oh, yeah. Anybody what wants to build in that garden, ooh, they sure got a bad time coming for them. But yeah,
Incredible.
I can check on it. I don't think it needs my help, but I'll certainly check on it. Right before it decides to kill me. Maybe I'll send Ziggy first.
Would appreciate it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right. The stage is set. all of you are ready to travel and to face off against Marlowe Anvers, the Fallen Vance. As Zeros opens a new door into the actuality, and you feel the bar shift its location, and watch as all of the decorations subtly change to accommodate any potential new patrons. One scene that unfolds in the corner of this bar that you do not see. Allegra opens her grimoire, and out of a page that had been precariously folded, that you, in your anger, ripped Kiri, a small slip of paper falls out. And Allegra, in a relatively quiet corner, reads a note from a man who loved her, who, if it hadn't been for you, no one would remember it all. And in a way that none of you would have ever thought possible upon encountering her, she weeps. The end game is upon us. I look forward to seeing what happens. And on that note, this is the end of our session, and perhaps the penultimate session, at least before the epilogue and the all ending of the main story arc. So, guys, this has been great. And I think it's time for shout outs and plugs. And we're going to start with Marcy.
So, I never know when this is actually airing, so just gonna reiterate, the whole people are only good as the resistance that they put up in their city. Cheers. Which could be nothing.
Cheers. Moving down the overlay, Bill, shout outs and plugs.
Even in the event of nuclear holocaust, you can probably still enjoy Jeff Stormer's games and podcasts. JeffStormer.com. Unofficial, official Olive Garden LARP, which I think needs to be the next game that the five of us play. And my other shout out will be Zach. Holy shit. What a GM performance. Here we are at the end, still delivering. I'm in awe. Thanks, man.
My pleasure. Moving over the overlay, Hopper.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Holy shit. This is so much information sprawling over so much time and so many threads that you're weaving together. It's very impressive. I guess I'll go for an evergreen plug, and that plug is getting involved in mutual aid, especially, and remembering that mutual aid is not a fallback or a secondary option to the systems that are supposed to protect and sustain us. They are manifestations of community and empathy and care that fundamentally should subsume those organized authoritarian systems. And that means that putting your effort into mutual aid whenever you can is incredibly important, and it will love you back. You're being told it won't, and it will. But yeah, be gay, do crime. Remember to give a shit about each other. It's the most powerful thing you can do.
And last but most certainly not least, Marissa.
Yeah, I mean, echoing all of that, Zach, you're doing a phenomenal job bringing us home, landing the plane, as they say, and giving us a last little chance to visit with all of these wonderful, beautiful characters we've brought to life. Shout out to my fellow players for also engaging so evocatively with that cast, and also creating those characters in the first place. Which will bring me to my evergreen plug, which is this stream was started, what, 7, 8 years ago, which is an insane amount of time when you
It's
think
only
about
7. It's only 7.
it.
Don't put that on
Don't
us.
Don't worry, it's only been almost a decade.
Don't worry. Don't think about it too hard. But I mention the time because when we started this stream, AI was a distant twinkle in some stupid Silicon Valley bro's eye. We created all of these characters, this entire storyline without a jot of AI. This came from our brains, our creativity, our collaboration. It is not necessary to use these systems. Creativity is human generated. And notice the friction that happens between these characters. It's not sycophantic. It's X, it's Y. It's quietly brilliant. Like, the language isn't hollow because humans performed these characters and wrote these lines and thought about these story arcs. And so this shows you what can happen when you embrace human creativity over these systems we don't need that have literally been put upon us to suppress that very creativity and that human ingenuity and energy by people who don't have it and therefore think they can just use technology to co-opt it and take it away from the people who do. So this is to say, no AI used at all in the generation of this game, and it goes to show it's not needed, it's not necessary. Consume content that comes from people.
For my own piece, I will echo what Hopper said about mutual aid. Find your mutual aid organizations, even if it's just a grocery co-op. Do what you can to aid people and to help those who are less well off or who are vulnerable. Second big shout out, most importantly, to my cast. I don't know if I'm ever going to run anything quite as good as this. I'm going to also echo Marissa. This campaign has entirely been created by humans. It has been living in my brain too long for it to be any other way. And and these situations that I get to put everybody in and watch how their story unfolds as they tell it, I would not trade for anything an AI would spit out at me. And or anything at all, for that matter. I'm just incredibly grateful. And it's hard to look at it and know that it is ending. I know that we are all different people, that we've walked down a lot of different paths to get to this point. And I wouldn't change a single thing of it. I might make some different editing decisions in terms of making sure I didn't lose one of our episodes, but otherwise, I don't think I'd change anything. Because what you guys as my players have done is so magical. And it is, if it weren't recorded for posterity, it would be this ephemeral, beautiful work of art. And that is what every gaming group does when they sit down at a table and play together. So I have a shout out, a plug, and I have a command, which is play games with people that you love and care about, because it's a great way to build a story with them and to know them better as friends and as people and as loved ones. But last of all, take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Help out other folks when you can. Don't let the bastards get you down. And may the invisible sun shine on you all. Good night. See you soon.